What's up, guys? This is Braden Break, and I have a special TCG interview for you today. Today we're going to be talking to Chris Jester, who placed in the top 32 at Georgia Regionals this past May. Chris Jester has been super easy to work with, awesome guy, great TCG player. So thankful for him agreeing to do this with me and doing this interview and sharing his deck with us. We're going to go over it real quick. This is his deck. He ran Rainbow Road at Georgia Regionals and did very well with it. As you can see, it runs nine different Pokemon, 9 different types of Pokemon, and the Pokemon Xerneas, which is the main attacker, with the attack Rainbow Force, for 1 fairy and 2 colorless energy. Does 10 damage plus 30 more damage for each different type of Pokemon on your bench. So you run Sky Field, you get 8 more Pokemon on your bench, you're hitting for 240, 250 with the Fighting Fury belt. It's a pretty easy to understand idea. I'm just going to go over the list. I'm not going to cover it in detail. I'll let Chris do all the talking in the interview. But we'll go over it real quick right now. He runs 2 Shaymin-EX, 1 Yveltal-EX, 4 Xerneas, 1 Gallade, 3 Ho-Oh-EX with the ability Rebirth, 1 Exeggcute with the ability Propagation, 1 Stellar Guidance Jirachi, 1 Hoopa with the setup ability for the EX Pokemon Scoundrel Ring, and 1 Keldeo-EX. He runs 4 Battle Compressors, 1 Computer Search, 4 Energy Switches, 4 Trainers Mails, 4 Ultra Balls, 4 VS Seeker, 1 Colress, 1 Lysandre, 1 Maxies, 1 N, 3 Professor Junipers, 4 Sky Field, 2 Fighting Fury Belt, 2 Float Stones, 4 Double Colorless Energies, 1 Dark Energy, 3 Fairy Energy, and 1 Water Energy. How all this deck works, we'll let Chris talk about. We'll let him explain everything. Can't wait to get into the interview, and I want to thank him one more time before we do that. You guys enjoy. What is up, guys? This is Braden Break, and I have a special interview for you today. Today we're going to be interviewing Chris Jester, who placed in the top 32 at Georgia Regionals, running Rainbow Road. How you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name's Chris Jester. I'm 26 years old. I play Pokemon competitively in Indiana. I've played since about 2011. I played before that too when I was younger, but I took a large break from the game and got back in about 2011, 2012. I played in Florida before I lived in Indiana, so I played in Florida for like the first, I think, 3 years of my competitive career, and then I moved up here and finished up here.
Nice. Well, you said you got back into Pokemon around 2011. What got you back into it then?
Well, my sister was about old enough to start playing herself, and she wanted to start playing, and because I already knew how to play the game, it was easy to teach her. And we actually had a local league in our area. The Craigs run it, Heidi Craig, Orion Craig, and they got us into the competitive aspect of Pokemon, and I just kind of got hooked like right away. Now that I think about it, it might have actually been like the end of 2010 because SP stuff was still legal.
I see.
But yeah, it was cool. We got they hooked us up with like some of the extra league promos that were turning around like Uxies and stuff that were really hard to get. And I kind of like got a taste of how to build decks from like just playing their decks that they had built, and I kind of transitioned into like some of the easier like high tier decks like Machamp and stuff, and then gradually moved on from there.
I see. Well, what brought you to Rainbow Road then?
So I haven't. Now that I'm like older and I've like job and stuff like that, I don't really have as much time to focus on playtesting anymore.
I see.
Actually, the only tournaments I got to go to this year are 3 regionals and 1 city championship that was like half an hour from my house. So I don't get to play much. I basically, and I almost always end up deciding like the last week when I'm going to play for a tournament. So I saw the Rainbow Road deck actually on Team Fish Knuckles channel, and I thought it was really cool. I thought that it looked interesting. I liked the synergy between all the cards. I actually had a playset of Xerneas Breakthrough when the card came out. I thought it looked really fun. Me and Mike Canavis talked about it a lot a few months back, and I thought the card had a lot of potential. So I already had a playset of the cards, and I had full art Ho-Ohs too. So I decided to build it. I had all the cards for it, which was a blessing because trying to borrow cards the weekend of a tournament was always horrible. And I thought the deck looked really fun, and I played a bunch of test hands with it against like Yveltal, like the test games with it against Yveltal the night before, and I just like dumpstered Darkrai Yveltal like every single game. And I was like, wow, if it's this strong against a deck like Darkrai, then it's probably worth playing. So
yeah. Well, tell me specifically about the deck, about your deck you ran, and how you decided to build it. Like certain cards you kept in and didn't keep in.
Okay, so like with the benefit of hindsight now, so never many people played Rainbow Road. I think a big part of why is because it's expanded. Getting a hold of some of the older cards is difficult, and especially cards like Ho-Oh-EX.
Yes.
From like an older set. It doesn't see a lot of play. It's only good and expanded, so like a lot of people don't even have access to it anymore. So only a few people played the deck. Xander Bennett is a good friend of mine, and he played Rainbow Road as well. The changes he made were he included a Jolteon-EX and an Yveltal Breakthrough.
Yeah, I saw that.
I definitely agree with those changes. I think if I was to build the deck for the same tournament today, I would also I didn't have a Jolteon. I planned on including a Jolteon, or I would have. I kept the water energy, which was useless the entire tournament. I would have swapped it for a lightning energy and put a Jolteon in. I actually lost a game against Nightmarch that I might have won because I started Yveltal-EX and just got a free 2 prizes on it, and that's the biggest reason why you shouldn't play the card in the deck. The Breakthrough Yveltal also would have helped in a lot of situations, like shutting off my opponent's Fighting Fury Belts when I'd sometimes miss the KOs. And I noticed how powerful the card was during the tournament when there was multiple times where my opponent would have a Fright Night Yveltal active and they would knock out something, and I would promote Keldeo with Free Retreat because I thought I had Free Retreat because I had a Float Stone attached, and I would forget about Fright Night and not be able to retreat my Keldeo. I swear I walked into that play like. I
swear, who hasn't walked into that play a few times, honestly, for real. So it took me the longest time to whenever I played against Yveltal. I made that mistake so many times because you don't think about it, you usually think about the higher count in the deck, which is usually like the what is it, the Darkness Wing. That does 30. You never you just forget to think about the other one, you know. So you just
I think it really highlights how important playtesting is.
Yes.
If you're not comfortable with your deck, like or like cards in the metagame, like I said, I don't have time to test a lot anymore. You don't think about things like that, and like it's like instinctive to just promote your Pokemon with Free Retreat almost all the time, and you have to pay more attention, I guess, and like get more accustomed to playing your deck. I was gonna say like. There aren't any. I didn't do anything creative with my list, but I feel like certain things that are like really important when you're playing the deck, like turn 1 play, I almost always battle Compressor away a Ho-Oh and a Fairy energy, so that like even if I was only rebirthing 1 energy into play, you could energy switch the Fairy off onto the Xerneas and get the 200 off turn 1 almost every game by doing it that way. And I think that's like really important because I watched other people play the deck and like they'd compressor different counts of cards. They'd compressor the Maxie Gallade without having the hand to pull it off the first turn or things like that. And I think like your first battle compressor target should almost always be Ho-Oh-EX and Fairy
over the Gallade.
Yeah, and like and I think that's really important because your priority 1 is always getting turn 1 Rainbow.
Rainbow Force or however the attack goes. Yes. So yeah, how many did you run into any Jolteon matchups actually with that?
I did not play against any deck that played Jolteon. I'm glad I had the Gallade just in case, but I think hindsight I probably wouldn't have played it. Regardless of if I played it against it or not, you still have plays like Escape Rope Lysandre, you can get around it and things like that. The deck is weird with matchups. Like the Mega Rayquazas and Darkrai decks I went against, it was so favorable, and then the Trevenant and Nightmarch matchups are terrible. Like Nightmarch I played against probably 4 times both days combined, and Trevenant I played against 3 times. I played against Christian Ortiz in Swiss. He ended up winning, and it's really bad. Like even with the Breakthrough Yveltal, I don't think it's close. Like your best chance, I beat 1 Trevenant in Swiss, and I did it round 2, and I literally they had a kind of bad hand and couldn't get the turn 1 item lock, and I was able to get enough resources in to swing 2 Rainbow Forces turns like 2 and 3 and get knockouts, and like kind of establish a good enough board, and by then they were behind, and we only finished 1 game, so. Like I just kind of got lucky. I really don't feel like it was very indicative of how. That's honestly just like good luck on my part. Like I feel like the matchup's really favorable for Trevenant.
Well, what do you think would make this deck better against the Trevenant matchup, or is it even really important enough in the expanded scene right now to even kind of build towards that?
More dark Pokemon.
More dark Pokemon.
Like I don't know. Maybe another Lysandre could help. I don't know. Like Trevenant is very very powerful and expanded. But Rainbow Road's strengths for a lot come from its matchups against stuff like Dark. That's always going to be safe. People are always going to consider Dark a safe play, and things like Rayquaza. You just kind of the way Pokemon is now. It's so matchup based. You just have to get lucky dodging stuff anyway. So you kind of just pick a deck that you're comfortable with.
Yeah,
it has good matchups, and you hope you dodge the scary stuff. And the thing is with Expanded is there's so many like juvenilely good cards that you probably just should be playing some combination of those kind of cards, whether it's Trevenant or Laser or whatever.
There's so many possibilities. So you said earlier that you didn't really choose until like right before the actual tournament. Why did you choose to run that deck?
Just because I thought it looked really fun, and it had really good matchups against the deck that I considered the strongest play. Yeah. We actually were a lot of people I talked to were saying that they weren't sure how big of a presence that Trevenant would have. It was like it seemed like people could either be too afraid to play it, or because it had been so successful, or that it could be a sleeper pick because of that. So, it's really hard. You never know. It ended up being fairly popular, so that was a poor call. But I played against 9 Dark decks.
Wow, that's a lot.
I went like 8-1 against them. So,
and that's definitely not bad at all.
No, I think like if you have a almost auto win against whatever you deem the strongest deck in the format, then that's a good enough reason to play it. And I was comfortable playing the deck. I picked it up pretty quickly. I played a few games against my friend Tyler Keller the night before, and it was good.
Yeah,
it was pretty close.
Yeah, I would definitely say when you sent me your list and I was actually going over it, it was my first time seeing this deck, and it definitely looked really cool. I actually totally love the idea behind it. I remember when I saw the card first time in Expanded, in Standard when Breakthrough came out, I kind of saw it, I was like, oh, that's really cool, then I kind of like just blew it off to the side, because it just kind of got swept under the mat, and just really didn't see much play, so I was like, no potential there. And then I finally saw you send it to me on here. I was like, huh. I just thought that was really funny. But
it's interesting. It's actually got there's a different version in Standard that plays the Golurk that's fighting in Psychic type.
Yeah,
and that version's a lot different, but it's interesting too.
Yeah. So tell us about your regional experience. Tell us about how it was, the atmosphere, how the whole day was, and then just to also tell us about how Swiss went. If you could just give us a recap on that.
Okay, so I really enjoyed playing at Georgia regionals. My options were Georgia and Wisconsin. Wisconsin was a couple hours closer, but both of them were substantially far from me because I live in South Indiana, so it was about a 6 or 7 hour drive to Wisconsin and a 9 hour drive to Georgia. So it wasn't a giant difference, but because I used to live in Florida, I have a lot of friends down there. So they were going to be at Georgia regionals, so I felt like it was worth it to make the trip to go down there, and the tournament was really well run. I had no complaints there. It was fun, seeing everybody. I wanted to get some games in with Xander Bennett's fake format decks. I didn't get a chance to because we all three playing Olds decks. None of us got to play any of those because we all made day 2. First world problems, but we all did better than we wanted to, so we didn't have time to do anything extra and fun. But it was still good. It was still a good time. I always like going down there. I thought the tournament was well run. The judging staff was good. It wasn't overkill like Florida or anything. I thought that it was. And my Swiss experience was like I said. It was I played against almost every deck I played against in Swiss was dark.
Dark, yeah. So, you said 8-1.
It was fun because I had so many times I had people pick up Xerneas and read it. They knew it was a card, but they didn't know exactly what it did, and then they would just go "Wow, that's a lot of damage." They didn't really know how else to say it, but I don't know. I thought I had a good time, and it was nice. The other 2 regionals I went to this year, I went to Lancaster, and I played Vespiquen, Flareon for that one. And I played cool stuff in my list. I played Swellow, the one that takes an extra prize card when it gets a knockout, and I actually got to use that for the extra prize too. And then I played multiple times, and then I played Seismitoad Giratina for Florida regionals. And both of those tournaments, I started 6-0 and missed day 2. I drew really bad hands and bad matchups the last couple of rounds and would like bubble both times. So I was starting to get paranoid because it started happening in Georgia too, and I felt like I was gonna miss. And then I was like seated fairly high going into day 2.
Nice.
So I was like paranoid for no reason. All day I was like trying to figure out. This is what happens. I'll get to like 6-0 and I'll start figuring out like when I should consider drawing and whatnot. And then like I'll just start dropping games to like variants and just. Then I'm like, well, now I need to worry about getting in at all, let alone like how many points I can afford to keep going into the next day. So,
you said you had 9 dark matchups. Were any of them like more memorable than another one, or was there anything that just really stuck out to you out of those matchups?
The one that played Archeops Gallade was like slightly more challenging. It was I played against BJ Brownell. He's a Georgia player. He was playing the Archeops Gallade, and it was a little tougher. I don't know. I feel like mostly because Gallade is a non-EX that can do substantial damage to things like Shaymin that I have to bench for the matchup. And he played it really intelligently. He had the Fright Night Yveltal. He played like I feel like he played like a heavy count of that. He played like quite a few of them, and like it was really I had to be careful with like my Shaymin drops and whatnot. But I think one of the games I actually won because I Fury belted my Jirachi to keep it from dying from the snipe. And then, because it puts it at 130, so the second snipe doesn't knock it out. You need one more turn of snipe, and it prevented the knockout, and I got the knockout going back in. So that's probably the best game I played against Dark. The straight Dark variants aren't a good matchup at all for it. Like you blow through those. But the ones that play Archeops and Gallade are like it's a little closer for them. They can steal a game or two.
They can. So. Which Dark matchup did you lose? How did that one go?
Oh, I didn't lose a set. I lost.
You lost a game.
I lost a game.
All right.
That one. Sorry.
No, it's all right. That's my bad. How did that game go?
That was the one where I literally just started Shaymin and
you just scooped.
He poked it like multiple times with Fright Night. I had a bad setup that game.
Yeah. All right. So not bad.
I would say out of like maybe like 12 single games against Dark to have like one game where you like don't set up. I mean, obviously you have to run a little hot to do well at a large event, but I definitely was fortunate for sure in my run more than
Were there any other matchups besides Dark that stuck out to you, or any other matchups you got to face that were worth recapping or telling us about?
Trying to think. Mega Rayquaza is pretty favorable. If they don't play Jolteon especially. You just pick on Shaymins, basically.
Yeah.
The Night March matchup is a nightmare, and it's probably worse than Trevenant.
How often did you run into...
You just trade so poorly with that, because you're both non-EXs, but you need to you have to pull off so much during your turn, and then they can also Hex Maniac your Ho-Ohs, so... Yeah, it's just bad. I played against Night March like 4 or 5 times. I played against Kyle Warden twice playing Night March, and I lost both times. Like, it's just... It's not good.
Yeah. No bueno. So Swiss went well for you, and you ended up finishing really well for the tournament. 32nd or top 32. I keep wanting to say 32nd. I don't know why. I'm trying to think. One sec. Tell us how you finished up the day.
Okay, so day 2 I did very poorly. I faced first 3 rounds Trevenant, Night March, back to back. And then I got a Dark and a Rayquaza to finish it up. So I didn't do too great day 2. That's just the part of it. Like, eventually you're gonna run into those decks that you consider bad matchups.
Yeah,
like, it's just gonna happen. And day 2 is just gonna be filled with those kind of decks because obviously those are all strong decks, especially in expanded. I think all 3 of them are significantly better in expanded than they are in standard. Of course, you could argue every deck is better than standard because they all have better cards to play with. But those decks specifically are extremely strong and expanded because of how powerful they are against the rest of the format. Like, they're all okay decks in standard, but they're a lot better in expanded. So, those are decks you're just gonna expect to see. And I had poor matchups against Trevenant and Night March, and that was it. So.
Yeah. Trying to think, what potential do you see for this deck? There's a few more regionals before Worlds, and then there's Nats before Worlds, obviously. But What I know we were talking about some changes earlier this week with the new Steam Siege set going to be legal for Worlds and playable. What changes do you think you'll make with that new set coming out to this deck and in preparation for future events?
So the unfortunate thing is that Night March is still a thing, and it's even better in Standard. But after Night March rotates, I think the deck could be really good. The Volcanion EX is awesome for the deck because it gives you plus 60 because it's both types. It's fire and water, and you can Hoopa for it. And one of the best things about the deck is with Sky Field and Hoopa, you can easily search out 3 different EXs and immediately add 90 damage to your attack with Hoopa. But now with Volcanion, when you Hoopa for Volcanion, you're adding 120 damage to your attack right off the bat, off of 1 Ultra Ball. You're Ultra Balling for a Hoopa and getting a Shaymin, a Volcanion, and whatever other EX. A lot of times I would Hoopa for just EXs that I never was going to attack with. They were just there to be a different type.
Yep.
And you're immediately adding 120 damage to your attack, which is crazy with 1 Ultra Ball. That 1 card gives you so much value. And then like whatever else you draw into on your turn as well. You just keep adding damage to your attack. So you're pumping out tons of damage with the deck now. I really think it's going to be like a strong contender if it doesn't lose. Yeah, you don't have Ho-Oh in Standard, but I don't think you need it. There's other things. You can play things like Max Elixir. Max Elixir is a severely underdiscovered card right now. I think a lot of people aren't giving it enough credit.
I love Max Elixir.
And that deck especially, like there's room. Like you can DCE Max Elixir the Fairy on and go. So like there's outs like that. EXP share is legal. I don't know if it's legal after rotation. I don't remember when the last set it came out.
I can't remember either. I think it might be.
EXP share was what we played in the standard list before with like Bronze on and Golurk and stuff. So that was the way you cheesed around not having Ho-Oh. But it's definitely viable. It's just as long as Night March is a thing, it's just not worth playing because realistically, Night March is so powerful that you could expect to play against it 2 or 3 times in a tournament. So until that's not a problem anymore. Like for Worlds, I probably wouldn't consider playing the deck. But afterward, I definitely think it's a contender with Volcanion EX. It's definitely worth playing. Even in the commercial, they showed the deck seeing some play, and like in the commercial, the guy was even playing the Rainbow Road with Volcanion in it. So like I think Pokemon knows things like that. They notice like the synergy when they make things like that. So
now I know you said that the Ultra Ball for the Hoopa is like one of the best things you can do with this deck. Turn 1. Was there any time during like the tournament or when you've been playtesting this that you Ultra Ball and you didn't have the Hoopa? What did you do then?
Well, I've considered playing a second Hoopa for that reason.
Yes, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, but
does it just not happen that often?
We played multiple Hoopa and Mega Rayquaza too, so for that reason, because Hoopa is such a strong play on the first turn of the game. It's not bad because like they can knock out the Hoopa to try to take it away, take away your only psychic type, and you can just bench another one. Like it seems okay. The thing is weird about it though is it's like a heavy retreat cost Pokemon, and starting it is bad, and you don't have like Keldeo in Standard.
Yeah,
so. But it's probably still worth playing a second one just for that reason. But in the list I had when I prized the Hoopa, I would just typically I'd like Ultra Ball for Shaymin and try to draw more cards and hope to get into the Pokemon that way. And yeah, a lot of times prizing Hoopa definitely kept you from doing as much damage turn 1. But then it also opens up opportunities for like Lysandre plays. You don't need too many Pokemon to knock out like a Shaymin, and then if you knock out a Shaymin, you're taking a third of your prizes. Maybe you pull your Hoopa then, and so.
But yeah, so on top of like new cards coming out, remind me, I can't remember. You've seen the Karen card, right?
Yes.
That's leaked. Is that going to be out in time for Worlds or no?
No, really
it's
don't.
Not yet.
I don't think Pokemon makes decisions based on things like the metagame.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I just couldn't remember what set that was releasing with.
Set just for that reason.
Yeah.
I think that it will probably be out after that. I think that anyone trying to convince themselves that Night March is a big enough problem, and I'm not a huge supporter of Night March either, but anyone who thinks it's a big enough problem that it's worth for them to print an entire set just to stop one deck is kidding themselves.
Yeah.
All of the decks that had a mid-season ban or an early ban were because of one main reason. It created a game state where the deck could have a long opening turn and end the game before your opponent got to really play the game. The Lysandre's trump card ban was because of the Latios-EX first ticket crushing hammer thing in Japan. They would have one of the players take a 15-minute turn going first and either donk or cycle their cards back into their deck. And the way their format works is every round is like 30 minutes. and they have like the stage thing and whatnot, and it was super unhealthy over there. Plus, it took away a win condition in the States, and they don't like that either. Shiftry kept the other person from playing the game like a lot of the time, and then Sable Donk, when Sableye was rotated, you would take like a 15-minute turn, and then you would end the game before your opponent got to play a card. That's just not fun. When you're preventing people from playing the game, that's why they made it so you can't attack going first, because ending the game before your opponent gets to play the game is not how the game is intended to be played.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you ever won a Battle Roads with Sable Donk back in the day, you never felt good about it. Like, it wasn't fun. And I'm glad that every time they made that kind of decision, that was the result. That was a good thing. But this is not necessary. This isn't the same thing. This is just one deck that's inherently better than all the other decks. This is a best deck in format kind of situation. Sure, it might be a semi-stagnant format, but that's not a reason for them to ban a card.
Yeah,
Pokemon
definitely
doesn't just ban cards with no reason. Like, it has to be too powerful, and I think Night March is definitely beatable. It's just so consistently good and powerful that it can even overcome its worst matchups, and that's why it's so good. So it's almost always the best choice for a tournament just because of that. But there's eventually going to be a point where so many people just don't want to lose the Night March that they will create full counter decks
full counters.
and not lose to Night March, and then
Bronzong
that'll slow
break
it down a little bit. So yeah,
pretty much.
Maybe.
Yeah, or not even really, if we're being honest. But so you said that you definitely see this as a play after Worlds. What do you think if you were playing at Worlds? Have you gotten a Worlds invite?
I've only played 3.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. So I didn't think so. Yeah.
If I was going to Worlds, I would probably play Night March.
You probably play Night March?
Unless I had some like rogue deck in my pocket that I felt really good about, then I feel like just playing the safest play you can is just going to get you through Swiss. Especially because it seems like in that set, things like the Ninja Kid and the Ranger card, those are like cards that are just going to make Night March even better. And that item card that lets you
special charge
get DCs back is insane.
It is insane. I can't
too many
wait.
cards for Night March, so I definitely think it's definitely worth playing as a last hurrah before they hopefully rotate Phantom Forces out. So
yeah, you definitely said but you said a rogue deck if you were in theory going to play at Worlds. I just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of one I saw the other day. I might have been on Team Fish Knuckles too as well. There was a little expanded deck. It's Gliscor Sandile, and
I saw it.
Yeah, you saw that. Yeah, that deck was probably really cool. Made me want to actually build an expanded deck.
It's super cute. Yeah.
But so is there anything else you want to talk about the deck, about your experience at regionals, anything like that?
No, I definitely think that it's nice when you see a card that like looks like it would be underappreciated from the start, like Xerneas, get some attention. And I'm glad I was able to play a card that I like legitimately enjoy and like get it some more attention. Like I said, it was a deck that was underrepresented for sure because people didn't have access to all the cards for it. And hopefully Xerneas itself will see a lot of play in standard. Like I don't think so. The weird thing about the break is you actually don't have more HP than a belted regular Xerneas.
I meant to ask you about that, so it's good.
I don't think it's really worth it because if you're playing it to get the extra HP, it's not actually more HP if you ever have a fighting fury ball attached. But yeah, I thought it was cool to play a card that I felt was underrated, and I was glad I was right about it. It's always nice when you can like kind of play something under the radar like that. Yeah, and that you enjoy playing. I always favor tournaments like regionals and nationals because you get to see everybody and like I don't play anybody will tell you I don't play a lot of league challenges. I played Zero Cities for the last like 2 years. I just don't. I don't know. It's like hard to justify going out and doing it, but a lot of things like the stipends and things like that are like making it enticing to play and like and the whole season and like try and I might who knows. But yeah, I do want to shout out Squeaky for putting the deck on his channel and like giving me the idea and the concept to play it, and Xander for talking about the deck with me all throughout the day and like checking on how each other's doing and like trying to represent the deck and whatnot. And I thought that it was a fun deck to play, and I'd recommend it to anybody else. I think it's interesting and expanded. If expanded is still a thing, which I think it will be.
Yeah, definitely will be too.
I think that it'll be an interesting deck for those tournaments as well.
But yeah, so first of all, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I really appreciate it for one, and I hope my viewers will too. And yeah, just like he said, thank you to Squeaky for providing him a list, I guess, to build off his deck. And congratulations to you, Chris, on your finish.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And just, yeah, again, thank you for agreeing to do this.
No problem.
This was Chris has been super easy to deal with this whole time, and we had some problems, you know, arranging an interview just due to our schedules, but he's made it as easy as it can be, and I am so thankful for that. And that's all I had, Chris. If you had anything else you wanted to say.
Nope. I'm gonna be at U.S. Nationals in Columbus, so if you want to come up and say hi,
yeah,
I'm around.
If you want to say that,
I won't be at Worlds probably, but Nationals I'll be at. So.
All right, and yeah, and if you have a question for me or Chris about the deck or about anything, leave it down in the comment section below, and I'll make sure either me or Chris ends up getting back to you one way or another. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like down below. It does help support the channel, and it does help support this series. So thank you a lot, guys, for watching. This has been Braden Break. You guys have a great day.